say my comments, then we hear from the candidates one last time.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before I start, I want to first say that I'm fighting a pretty nasty cold again. I don't think it's coincidental that, ever since I moved to Richmond, I seem to be fighting to stay healthy. I'm eating better than ever in my whole life, yet I seem to be in a kind of constant war with some kind of something, a sinus, a bronchial, chest, something going on with regard to breathing. And, I've lived in a lot of states, lived in a lot of cities, but this is the only city that I've lived with a big refinery. So I'm doing the math, you do the math. We as residents shouldn't be fighting all the time to stay healthy. So with that said, although I'm happy that I'm able to be here tonight despite being not feeling well, I wish the circumstances were different and that it was not because Gary Bell is unable to serve. I want to thank all of the speakers for taking time to come tonight to express yourselves and share your skills and passions with us. I begin my comment, and I'm going to be slow because I'm weak. I'm lightheaded, everything, but I'm going to begin my comment by appealing to Councilmember Rogers and by reminding the viewing audience of some very important history. The push for a special election isn't a push for democracy, as some people are saying. It's a maneuver for political power. In the past, the council has always appointed a replacement, Now, when some council members think they can't get a majority of the council to appoint someone who shared their positions, they're demanding a special election. History has shown us in Richmond that Chevron has had a big say in the way politics have been done in our city. That's unacceptable to me. Now, for the first time in our history, we can change that. We can do something right. Councilmember Rogers, we can respect the voters who cast almost 11,000 votes for Eduardo Martinez and appoint him. You heard Eduardo say that he and Gary Bell have more ideas in common than not. And, the fact that he received fewer than 500 votes less than Gary Bell seems to me that as close as that race, as close as he was to Gary in terms of winning and of votes, seems to me that he and Gary's views and ideologies are pretty very close indeed. Obviously, very close because they were very, very, very close. Chevron did not play fair in the last election when it spent over $1 million to influence the outcome. We've already seen big money in the city trying to build support for a special election, hence the petition, which will cost the city over $200,000 of its valuable resources. We can be sure that it's ready to pour a huge amounts of money into a special election to pay for its own best interests. We can sit here and pretend that, when someone sends you a whole gob of lies in the mail, it doesn't stick. Someone says, you want someone to believe it, even if it's a lie, you say it enough times, people eventually start to believe it, especially if they don't really know you well. So, people depend on, oftentimes, unfortunately, what they get in the mail, and the one with the most stuff that comes in the mail That tends to be the case. But here we are. They didn't play fair, but now we have an opportunity to play fair by appointing Eduardo tonight. If the next highest vote getter was a Chevron candidate, we wouldn't be having this discussion. What kind of message are we sending our young people if we were to skip over the next highest vote getter to appoint someone who didn't work as hard as Mr. Martinez, who didn't even run a campaign?
Please keep quiet. Go ahead.
We tell our kids all the time, work hard, it pays off, play fair, and yet, Councilman Rogers, it seems like you're contemplating not rewarding hard work and integrity by suggesting a special election. I think that would be a shame, and a big letdown to our young people, because it shows, the adults, the level of hypocrisy that we as adults share, and kids really do pick that up, and it would be a shame. For those who feel that it's important to not appoint a member of a political organization such as the Richmond Progressive Alliance, may I remind you that this is a political business we're discussing. We have groups like BAPAC, Black American Political Action Committee, leading the charge against Eduardo, who lost by less than 500 votes, despite Chevron spending $100,000 on a smear campaign. BAPAC is an organization that's funded by major corporate backing to do their bidding. BAPAC is a conservative.
I would like to ask if voices remain quiet. I would like to ask once again that there be quiet while this process is going on. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
So BAPAC is funded by major corporations to do their bidding. BAPAC is a conservative organization that organizes to protect the profits of corporations, but is never organized against the injustice that the local refinery pours down upon the health of the black community. BAPAC did mobilize when Chevron neglected to protect the community and workers and caused a massive explosion that sent over 10,000 residents to the hospital. Yet we have another political organization that did, an alliance of progressive individuals who said enough is enough. And it is quite interesting that we're saying, don't appoint someone because of their political affiliation. Yet, we hear individuals, and I'm only using this as an example, Miss Sullivan, for example, saying she, BAPAC and BAWAPA, and those are all political organizations. They have the word political in their names. Black American Political Association, Black Women Organized for Political, Action. These are all political groups. So again, I say I am. Yeah, I am. It's a political organization. So I'm a member of many organizations. So again, I say, who would be best for our city? An individual who's beholden to big business, or one that is beholden to the people of Richmond? This whole fight is about whether we continue in a progressive direction or go back to a conservative path that block everything progressive, such as pedestrian and bicycle lanes, healthy initiatives, business improvement districts, and so on. It's about liberals and progressive versus conservatives, and I wish this were not the case, but it is. We look at the national level. We see that happening, nationwide, where, conservatives are trying to paint progressive as bad. We see conservatives calling our president, a radical Nazi, or calling our president a communist and a socialist. These are all done by conservative individuals trying to scare people. So although I wish that were not the case, It is, and because it is, I'd be remiss not to remind us of how the city was doing under conservative majority on the council. The city was stuck in the past. It was close to bankruptcy and laid off workers. It allowed the refinery to do as it pleased with self-inspections, absurdly low, and so on. Now under a progressive majority, look at how our city's doing. Our city, it's beautiful. Crime is down because of progressive ideas. Chevron's being held accountable. So like it or not, we will always be forced to decide which side of the which side of the political spectrum we sit on. I choose the progressive side that will hold Chevron and any business that does not respect Richmond accountable for crimes against our residents. I choose Eduardo to help keep moving in this progressive direction that has world-class businesses wanting to make Richmond their business home. I received a lot of emails from excuse me, one second. I'm gonna have some, hold on. I'm gonna have some. Lots of emails asking us to appoint Eduardo Martinez and not waste $200,000 that should be and could be and should be used for better things in our city.
Mr. Ellis, I would appreciate it if you can't contain yourself, if you would leave the chambers.
I can contain myself.
Thank you.
Got that down.
All right, excuse me, Mr. Ellis. I asked you nicely. Thank you.
Hey, he wants to be put out. Put him out. Asking for a special election is ridiculous. So I believe the people have spoken. I'm listening, and I ask that council members on this dais listen, particularly you, Councilmember Rogers. I ask that you listen. Eduardo Martinez is of the people. He's by the people, and I believe that he should be representing the people of Richmond on this dais.
Thank you.